Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick. Welcome into another edition of CBT Now, right here at the CBT Automotive Network. Donald Trump signed resolutions to block California's EV mandate. So joining us now with the latest on all of this and her perspective on this particular topic is Lauren Fix. You've seen her here before on CBT News. We're so happy to have her back. She is an automotive expert and the founder of Car Coach Reports. If you haven't checked out Car Coach Reports, do that right after this segment. So Lauren, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Very much appreciate it. What's your take on all of this? I mean, you and I have talked about this at great length, and he stepped up and signed it and said, you know, be gone. There's not going to be these crazy EV mandates out of California that has really held, I think, a lot of the automotive industry at bay and said, you know, hey, there's no way you're going to have these kinds of thresholds over the next, 10 years on EV, manufacturing and sales. So talk to us about some of this.
Okay, you're right. And there's a couple other things that are coming down the pike that we really need to keep our eyes on. So first thing, this is a great success.
Yeah.
Credit goes to Sean Duffy from the Department of Transportation, Lee Zeldin, who was leading the pack from the EPA, and Chris Wright from the Energy Department. These three people put together the effort to run it through Congress. We ran it through the House. We passed with bipartisan support. It ran to the Senate with bipartisan support, and it was put on the president's desk. I was waiting for him to sign it, and he signed it last Thursday. I'm very excited because what this means is there's 3 congressional review acts. So there's a whole bunch of information in this. First off, the first one is to remove the electric vehicle mandate on a nationwide basis that was put in place by the Obama administration and then again by the Biden administration.
Right.
But they kept moving the date, which made it more difficult, not just for states, but for dealers, because how do you know what you're selling? And I do a lot of speaking engagements around the country. And the first question I always get is, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
We can't make profits.
Right.
Nobody wants these cars. We have a lot full of these cars, and consumers are driving by going, do you have anything with gas? Anything hybrid? So I think it's obvious, but the truth is this is a success and freedom for all Americans. There should be no one unhappy about this. Pick what you want. Everything's still going to be available.
Right. But Lauren, what do you say to those conservationists that say, hey, you're going to be killing our environment and this was needed and oh my gosh, what's going to happen now? Going in the wrong direction.
I understand. I heard that too. But I think what you need to really realize is take a step back and don't listen to the mainstream media and look for yourself. Do your own research. Go out and find out, where are those batteries coming from? They're coming from China. Mm-hmm. And where is all the stuff that goes into those batteries? They come from the Congo. And all the mines are owned by China, at least 90% of them. So we are beholden to China, which is what China wanted, because they knew they couldn't beat us at the gas business. So they created this electric vehicle boom. But in the meantime, while they're talking about this, they still offer gas, they still offer hybrid, they're still building nuclear power plants, and they're still mining coal every day. They're the biggest polluter, but they want us to be beholden to them.
Right.
That's where it stems. And if you start looking at those batteries, parts of it is recyclable. The redwood materials is one of the biggest recyclers of batteries. But the fact is they can't recycle all of it. And it's actually worse for the environment. What we call in our business, cradle to grave. A gas-powered vehicle is recyclable.
Yeah.
So we reuse those parts.
So what does this mean for consumers?
Well, for consumers, this means you have choice. Mm-hmm. There is some caveats, and I'll tell you about that. First off, you want an electric? Go buy it. You want a Tesla? Go get one. You want a plug-in hybrid, a gas or diesel? They're available. Now, one of the other CRA's congressional review acts that was signed was for diesel vehicles going to ports. That was one of the biggest problems we had, because anytime things get more expensive to get to your home from wherever they come from, it's going to cost you more. And that causes inflation. So getting things from the port with an electric vehicle that has to charge 9 times during the day makes 0 sense when a truck can pick it up, bring it to a warehouse, and then either put it on rail or truck to get it to you. If the costs go down, the costs go down to you, because transport is a big part of not just transporting cars to dealers, but literally everything that we all have delivered from Amazon and everything else. So the caveat is, after President Trump signed this, I'm sure the first thing everyone's going to say is, the next administration is going to come in and they're just going to change the rules back. Not so quickly. This is a congressional review act. Once the president signs it, it's almost impossible for them to undo this mandate that's gone. You can't put it back into place. It can't even be similar language. So this is good news. Of course, Governor Gavin Newsom of California and a few other states such as Colorado and New York, they're going to try and fight this in court. They're taking your tax dollars for lawfare, and they will lose because this is done.
Yeah.
So this is good news for us, although we need to watch California Air Resources Board. They have doubled down on mandating electric cars. They're going to increase the cost of gasoline by 65 cents a gallon starting July 1st. I'll have a report on that coming out this week, so you want to look for that. 65 cents a gallon. That's good. They're saying by the end of next year, it'll be $8 a gallon, forcing you to think, do I want another gas car? Do I drive less? And what's it cost? Everything gets more expensive. Even ordering a pizza and having it delivered costs more.
That's right.
Because they're going to charge you for a transport fee.
Right.
The big thing to think about is the Supreme Court. There is currently a case, I am watching the docket waiting for a date, I'll keep you posted, that is going to remove the powers of the California Air Resources Board. They can control whatever they want in their state, and you have the option to move from that state or move to that state. That's your choice. However, this would take away their powers that were given to them by Obama for his 8-year term. And under Biden, under his 4-year term, they kept giving more and more powers to the California Air Resources Board, which amusingly is CARB, which is carburetor in my world. But it's one of those things that you really have to watch, because even if they don't take those powers away, they still don't have a mandate. So this is really good news for dealers, good news for consumers. It's good news for our economy.
Yeah, no question about it. What do you think dealers should be keeping an eye on right now as this situation unfolds?
Watch the manufacturer that you work with. I'm sure many dealers own multiple different brands, but you're seeing General Motors is being a little two-faced right now. They've put $1.4 billion into their Flint plant as well as their Tonawanda, New York plant, which is where I am. $1.4 billion is a lot of money for V8 engines. Interesting. But at the same time, Mary Barra is at the Wall Street Journal having an interview, and she says, we're all electric. Our future is all electric. So which is it? You just invested a lot of money into engines. So it says to me that they're kind of playing both sides of the fence to see what happens. Other manufacturers are starting to shift. Toyota was probably the smartest of all of them by saying, you know what? We're not going to go all electric. We'll offer them as long as you want them. If you don't want them, we won't make them.
That's right.
And they're changing that BZ4X name to just BZ, which is good news as well. But you're seeing a lot of brands starting to understand we're pulling back from this. Other brands, Hyundai, Kia, Genesis, have building steel plants here. They're offering a mix. They always have. And when I talked to the president, which is Jose Munez, this is 2 years ago, I said, what are you going to do if this comes down? And he said, we're like a Lego block. We can put any driveline we want under anything we have. That is very smart, and every brand should be doing that, not building special chassis, because that makes it better for dealers to say, I need this many plugins, this many hybrids, this many EVs, and this much gas, and they can ship that mix to you and let the customer decide, and you still make profits, and consumers can still get what they want. This is a big piece of the puzzle to watch the brands put some pressure on your contacts at corporate and tell them what you want. Say, we can't sell these. They know you can't sell them, and they know there's no profit for them or for you. So this is interesting, and that $7,500 mandate is going away at the end of the year, one way or the other. If it's a big part of that big, beautiful bill, as President Trump calls it, that will remove the $7,500 mandate, giving consumers in the year to take advantage of that. It'll take away the charging credit of $1,250. It'll also take away the $4,000 credit on used EVs, but the market's terrible on that anyhow. And then also it'll charge a $250 fee each year. It'll go to the state to cover the cost of roads and bridges because they put wear and tear on the roads just like everybody else. Yeah,
of course. So, and to your point, consumers can go out and buy these EVs. They can buy hybrids. They can buy gas powered vehicles. I mean, this doesn't change that, right? It just says, okay, we're not going to mandate this so that manufacturers have to be selling, 100% EVs, right? I mean, that really at the end of the day, you're right. It does give the consumer the choice.
Absolutely. And that's a good thing because I think consumers are really big on making what works for them. Not everybody's buying a new car every 3 years. I mean, a lot of people are buying cars. The age of vehicles on the road are now between 12 and 14 years old, where before all this craziness, people would get rid of their cars from 8 to 10 years. We would see a lot of 10-year-old cars. I'm seeing a lot of older vehicles on the road. As a matter of fact, I saw a Chevy Citation the other day. I almost laughed. I've seen Pintos on the road. People are pulling cars out of their grandparents' garages because they're looking at costs. And repairing a vehicle or keeping it running is probably a better position right now because I understand that dealers don't control the price that's on the window sticker, and consumers need to understand that as well.
Yeah.
When the vehicle comes, that's the price. They built it. This is what consumers want. They can't say, well, we'll just cut $10,000 off of it because the dealer added it on, because they'll take a loss. And that's not how it works.
Yeah.
So, that's part of what people need to understand, that you want to create a business relationship with dealers, you want to be able to go back for service, a collision, whatever it might be. And then if you do lease, that's when you go back to that dealer to get that same brand. They want that loyalty.
That's right.
But they got to think about leaving you as a consumer, you as a dealer, in a position like we're kind of trapped. And that's what they've kind of done over the years, especially after the chip shortage. So I think you're going to start seeing some big changes coming down the pike, because manufacturers have been letting a lot of their staff go. There's been a lot of layoffs, a lot of shrinkage, and they have to realize this electric vehicle mandate was only costing them on every single vehicle. Ford was losing $40,000 on a Lightning truck.
I know.
How do you make that up in volume?
Right.
You can't.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It is.
No question. And they thought that they would be selling them, left and right, and there'd be a waiting list and what have you, and they rolled that back pretty quickly. Yeah. Hey, by the way,
consumers have spoken.
I know that you've got quite the car collection yourself personally. Do you have an EV in the lineup?
Never. Absolutely not. I have a 2016 diesel Cayenne, which has like 40,000 miles on it.
Right.
I will never get rid of it. Everybody wants to buy it from me because it gets 700 miles on a tank, and I'm thinking, I actually bought it just as I custom ordered it, and it came in literally as the stop sale came in, and dealer called me, wanted to buy it back. They still do.
Oh, I
it's not
bet.
for sale.
Yeah, that is too funny.
But I have gas-powered vehicles. I have performance cars. But nope, I will not
You're
go the
not
EV
going
route.
there. You're not doing
I've driven
that.
every hybrid. They're a great solution for leasing. I think they're greatest vehicle to lease because you get the best of everything. But remember, when I tell everyone, if you're going to lease a car, don't lease it longer than the period of the warranty. The dealer would love to have you come back, and for you, you're not stuck with an expense.
Yeah,
so look at whatever that warranty is and work within that.
That's right. That's right. And I think with the high cost of cars being what it is today, you're going to see even more subvented type lease programs out there offered by manufacturers to, crawl their way back to 17 million SAR, 17 plus, right?
Hope so.
They're going to do.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that. Right now, you've got about over 2.5 million vehicles sitting pre-tariff on lots waiting to be sold. That's
right.
not good. It's good for consumers because they're not going to pay any tariffs, especially if you're looking at certain vehicles. But many vehicles are going to end up, the new vehicles coming, especially Ferrari, Porsche, Bentley, Rolls Royce, the high-end cars. Sure. You're going to be looking at an increase in price no matter what. And those customers don't care.
Right.
I was talking to a friend of mine who has a Ferrari. He says, that doesn't faze me at all. I said, exactly. And they know that. But for the average consumer, that's a whole nother story.
That's right.
And so there are pre-tariff cars out there. There's quite a few, millions of them. So shop around. There's always a dealer who would love your business.
That's right. That's right. But before you shop around, go to Car Coach Reports. I'm telling you, you're going to thank me later. But so Lauren Fix, automotive expert and founder of Car Coach Reports. We're showing all the information on the screen here. We're also providing a link right below this video for you to do just that. I highly recommend you do it, even for everybody, even in the industry. Sometimes in the industry we get away from it. All of our sales training is focused on how to close the customer and not necessarily how to sell the customer on the feature and benefits of that particular vehicle. So you might be surprised as to how much you're going to learn by going to Car Coach Reports, not just about the cars you sell, but also your competition. So that's why we are so happy to have our partnership with Lauren. She brings in just a wealth of knowledge about cars and the industry as a whole. So Lauren Fix, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Chip.
Thanks.